Hi, my name is Miriam Bogler, and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Pulse. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to do the basic training in Project Pulse. I'm going to start, I usually like to start with how to import your classes. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to the layout where I am at present. So right now, this is the projects area. This is what we call the My Drafts area. This is where teachers author their project before they assign it to a class. Every single one of these is a tile that was created, in this case by me, but when you have your own account, it will be created by you. The plus button here allows you to create a new project. There are 3 ways to create projects in Project Pulse. One of them is to use the Project Pulse catalog. The other one is to use the plus button, to use the project wizard to combine our one-tap templates in a way that will fit the special needs of the teacher. So instead of having to design the project completely from scratch, our one-tap templates are going to be available to be combined in different ways and help out the teacher and be fitted exactly to what the needs are, to what the teacher's needs are. So let me just start with, and now if you look here on the left side, you see that there is a section that's called My Classes. And this is where you actually can create your classes. So you have to, when you click on the plus button, you have 2 options: join the class and create the class. So when you click on create the class, then you have 2 options again. Option number 1 is when you are not a Google Classroom school. If you are not a Google Classroom school, then you can just type in your information here, press create, and your class will be created and listed underneath My Classes here. However, if you are a Google Classroom school, then you can click on import a Google Classroom. And in order for me to show you exactly what's happening, I'm going to have to log out for a minute from this account and go to another account where I actually have my Google Classroom. And I will show you in a minute how that looks. And so now I click on this plus button and go to create class and go to import a Google Classroom. And this is the only class I have. That's my sample class. And when I click, it actually brings up my Google Classroom, the details of my Google Classroom, details meaning that it brings up the roster of that classroom. And this was done, of course, in purpose, because many times teachers are using it sometimes for just gifted students, and they want to just pick a few students here, not everybody. And so if you want just to pick a few, you just check mark those that you want to pick up. But if not, then you can click on select all, and then just click on sync, and the classroom is created. So here's the classroom, here are the students, and this is where the teacher is. And for some reason, it takes one of the students and puts it as a teacher. This has nothing to do with Project Pulse. It's part of misunderstanding by Google. Anyway, but this is what's happening. So so that's how you import a Google Classroom. And again, because of the ability to select each individual student, we are actually forced to have you import every class separately. So that's that. This is how you actually import the class. And now let's say that you need to remove a few of some students because they left the school or something happened. So there's a way to do that. Every single student record here has a trash can, so it's really easy. Just press the trash can and the student will not be there anymore. In order to add a new student to the class, somebody joined, all you have to do is just go to sync with Google Classroom, and then it opens up the class in Google, and then you go in there, and again, it gives you the entire roster. So you can check who you are going to add here, and just press sync, and they will be added to the class. So that's really easy. So let me just go back to the other account, because that was the only purpose for this one. And now, in order for you to understand what's happening, it may be a good idea to start from the beginning, to create a project first. And so, as I said before, 3 ways to create them. I will go to the catalog, which is the one that I recommend that you start with, because the projects that are in the catalog are already you have scaffolding, you have a lot of things that are going to teach you how a project looks in Project Pals. So it's a good idea to start there. And once you feel comfortable, then move on to the other methods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a project in the catalog. And in this case, I'm going to pick the Design the City of Your Dreams. Now, when you want to see, before you decide to clone or not to clone, you can just go into the project and check it out and see, and go through it. And again, when you're opening a project like that in the catalog, you cannot change anything, you cannot edit, because this is not your project. This is just for you to view, but not to change or anything. In order to be able to edit and change, you need to clone it. But first, you just want to review it and see how it looks and whether this is exactly what you need in your class. So, you will go through the tabs and check them out. And let's say that you decide, yes, this is what I need. That's my project. You go back to the Project Pals catalog and you will hover over this project and go to the clone button. And when you go to the clone button, it will clone this project. So this will take a minute or two for it to clone it. So we're going to wait for it to happen. And then you'll see, and it will open up in your project. So here it is. It tells you, oh, go to project. So now you can go to the project. It opens it up in a minute. And you'll be able to see this is your copy. Now you can edit everything. You can change everything. This is yours. Now let me show you what happened really. So what happened is once you cloned it, it took that project and made a copy of it and put it in my drafts, which again, I told you, this is the authoring area where you author your project. And so it always puts the new projects next to the plus button. So you just cloned it, it puts it here. And so this is, as I said, this is one way of cloning a project and creating a new project. Another way to create a new project is to use one of these, to use the plus button. So there are actually two ways here to create projects. One of them is using the wizard. So let me show you. I'm going to click on the plus button here, and I'm going to type in here my innovation project. This is going to be my innovation project. And I'm going to click OK. And here I can type in the description. This is, whatever a project is, you can describe what it is. And then you're going to add here, since we are dealing with innovation, you're going to take an image from Google. And let's say that I'm going to take maybe this, and I'm going to right click and copy image address and go back to Project Pals and click. And there are two ways to add images here. One of them, if you click here, then it will take you to your hard drive and you can add an image from the hard drive. But if you click in here, where it says insert URL, you can paste your URL that you just copied from the internet and click OK. And there's the image. Now we're going to move OK here. And here it starts giving you the options. So the options are that it starts with some typical tabs that people would use to start a project. For example, they can start it with the brainstorm template, or an introduction template, or an observation. So let's say we start with the brainstorm template here, and then I want to add more. So I'm going to click on add phase. So here it gives you more suggestions. It tells you, oh, you can pick more. And let's say that neither of the, oh yes, actually I can use the observation template as a second one. So I'm going to add another phase. Now I'm going to go through it and look, and neither of these is helpful. So I'm going to go to more templates. And this is where it gives me the entire list of templates. And here I found something, problem based on observation. I'm going to add that as my third tab. So this is, I just created a project, I'm planning to do an innovation. So I'm planning it, but first I do it by observing and by brainstorming and observing. So once I'm happy with it, then I can go in here and go to finish. And it will start building my project. So here it is. It actually combined those three tabs that I wanted. and with all the scaffolding already existing with the project instructions. So everything is in there for the student to start working, and then moving on to observations. This is where they will start doing observations about the phenomena that they want to innovate about, and then they discover what the problems are and so on. So this is just a work in progress type of thing. And let's say that you actually wanted to add more here. So you can, by clicking on the plus button here and going to new tab from template, you can actually have access again and add more of these one tabs. So, you can go to innovation research here. I can go to innovation research because this is where they will start doing the research and create, and, and now it adds that. So here is the innovation research and so on. So basically, you understand that this is how you create your own custom project without having to do everything yourself. The third way is to actually create, once you really feel comfortable with Project Pals and you feel that you can design your own project, you will again click on the plus button. You will again start, and this time it's going to be my project from scratch. And I'm going to skip now the description and skip the image and go, and here, one of the options that I have is the blank. There is the blank tab that I will use now, and then I'm going to go directly to finish. Now, when I do this, it's going to provide me a completely empty project, just the first tab that we provided, that's all empty, and everything else needs to be done by the teacher. So these are the three ways of creating a new project in Project Pals. Now, let's say that I want to assign these projects. So the next step would be, once I have a project, I would like to assign it. Now, again, you can go in here first, and I'm going to show you in a minute how you can edit everything and change everything, but that's coming up. But before I do that, I actually like to go, I have a project. Let's assume that this is ready to go, and I want to assign it to a class. Now, this is the workspace. This is where the work is happening. But this on the right side, it's called the project dashboard. And the project dashboard has a lot of functionalities here that I'm going to introduce. But right now, I'm just going to go directly to what it says assign to class. And I'm going to click on it. And here it gives me a list of the classes, of my classes. And I have to, I have to say where I'm going to add it. So I'm going to add it to the social studies class. And now I'm going to go to create teams. Now here it is. Here are the two options that I have. So when you assign a project to a class, you can decide yourself who are going to be in the teams, which students are going to be in the teams. Or you can give them more independence and you can delegate it to the students. And when you delegate, when this is a team project and you delegate, you have to decide ahead of time who are going to be the team leaders, because they will have to then, once you assign it, they will have to then come into the assignment section of the class and start the project and add the other team members that are going to work with them. So that's the other option. So this is option number one, where you decide. This is option number two, where your students are going to, the team leaders are going to decide. So let me go to the first option, create teams. And here I can now, pair them up. So I'm going to say, oh, these two students are going to work together, and these two are going to work together. And finally, this guy's going to work by himself. And when, here are the three teams, and all I have to do is finish and assign. And since this is going to take a minute or two, I'm not going to wait here. I'm just going to go directly to my social studies class, and I'm going to wait for it to be produced, and you'll see in a minute how it shows up. While I'm waiting for that to be produced, here are the, what you see here. This is the classroom. This is my social studies class. On the top, you see the menus of the class. One of them is project. Projects is the area where you are going to find all the projects that you're going to find all the projects that students are working on. And even if they have the same color, you know, like for example, the same images here, you will be able to distinguish between them by looking at the names that are here. So here are the projects. They showed up, all three of them. Here they are. They were produced and showed up. And so now you see, although the same images show up in all three projects, but you know that here, this is Benjamin and there, and this is Elizabeth and so on. So you see, you can distinguish between them. So the next menu item is members. This is where you see who are the students in the class and who are the teachers and the co-teachers in this class. So now let's say that you need to, as I said before, oh, so we already talked about how we remove, if you need to remove students from the class. Now the next menu item here is assignments. So this is where those if you are assigning if you are delegating a project, then this is where the project will end up being. So let me just take you there. Let me just go to my drafts and take another project. And let's say that I'm taking this project and I want to delegate it to team leaders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the project. And I'm going to go to assign to class again. And this time, let's say that I'm going to assign it to the health class or something. And I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, skip teams and assign. And what happened is you don't see anything. It's not because we are waiting for it. It's because we have to go to assignments. And here my innovation project is on the top. And what happens here at this point is that the student who you decided that to be the team leader, the students, or I should say not one student, but students, they will log in and then come to assignments in their class and click on the project and start the project, start the assignment. So they will click here, and when they do this, it tells them, oh, if you are part of a group, only the group leader, so that you confirm that you know that. And then it gives you here the roster, and you can now decide who's going to work with you here in the project. So let's say that I decide Elizabeth is going to work with me, and I'm going to press start. And once I do that, that project was created for me. So if I'm going back to health now, I see my innovation project. Now, because I am an administrator, you are not going to see my name here, but if this was a student logging in, you would see both their names showing up here on the project tile. So that's the way, that's the other way of how to basically assign a project to a class. So that these two ways exist. Now, in case that you want to assign it to just one student, individual student, you can use any of these methods. All you have to do is just to select one student. So basically, when you are deciding on who is going to be in the team, instead of choosing a few students, you just choose one. And that's it. And this is how you assign it to one student. So let me move on, and let me go back to maybe to my social studies class and one of the projects that we have already created. And let me go and show you, introduce you to the project dashboard. And in a minute, it will open. And here is that project. And now if we go to, so the project dashboard has all these menu items. I'm going to start with the project detail. So the project detail has an image here. Students and teachers can change the image. So if the students decide, you know what, I want to be unique, look differently, I think that, then you can click on the change image. You can also add a video in case that you have a video for the project. You can just, and it has to be a YouTube video. So even if you have a video somewhere else, just upload it to YouTube, and then you can definitely present it here. So all you have to do is just, type in the link, the YouTube link here, and the project will show up. you can change the name of the project and the status of the project. So right now it is in progress. That's the default, but then if the project is finished by student, then you just press the finish button. And if and once the you finish grading the project, you can select, you have the options of graded, and then you know that you're not going to go back again to the same project. And then a project description, which you can also edit. So and now the team members. So who are the team members of this project? So of course, you are part of every project in your class. Automatically, you will always be part of it. And here are the 2 students that are part of this team. So you always see that. If you need to if you need to remove a project from, then you go to the trash can. If you need to add a new student, then you need to type their first and last name. What that means is that that student who you are trying to add has to be signed up to Project Pulse. So they have to be part of the system. They cannot just be somebody out of the school who has never been in Project Pulse. In that case, you have to provide them with a sign-up link, a student sign-up link, and only then you can add them here. So that's that. And then standards. You can add standards. So it's really easy to add standards to a project. All you have to do is click on the Add Standards and then select what type of standards. Let's say that you're selecting Common Core. And this is social studies. So we're going to go to social history, social studies. And then we're going to go and select the grade levels. And this is where you can start selecting which standards apply. And just click and says add selected standards, and then they will be added as you see them here. And then tasks. We are great believers in training students to basically break down the work into tasks, and then just when they accomplish the check mark, oh, we finished this task. Really easy to add a new task. Just click on the new task here and type a title, and then I'm going to say my task here, and then select a due date, and let's say I'm selecting tomorrow, and then just a short description how it's going to be done, and then select the student who is going to do this. So again, tasks can be created by the teacher and by the student as well. And let's say that we are selecting Benjamin, but you can also select both of them and then just press submit, and the task is there. And here is my task. And when the task is finished, students can just check mark and turns into a green task that now is finished and it doesn't need to be done anymore. So now let me go to the next one. And the next one is assigned to class, which you already done. And then we have publish to catalog. Publish to catalog is when you design either your custom, and maybe I should go into one of those custom projects to show you. Well, let's say I just designed my innovation project, and there's a teacher who sees this and says, oh, I wish I could use your template for my classroom. And when you do that, you can just click here again, open the dashboard and go to publish to catalog, and go to and you have 2 options here: publish to the account, meaning the school catalog, or the district catalog. And so let's say you're publishing to the school catalog, you click on it, and then you say, well, okay, this is something like, let's say, technology and science, and it is for middle school, and a duration, let's say it's 2 weeks, and project types is a lesson plan, and then you just press submit, and this project will be published into the school catalog. So let's see what happened. And let me show you what happened. So if I'm going outside here, and I'm going, and here I have something that's called the school catalog in the project area, and I'm going in there, here is my innovation project, which I just published into the school catalog. Now, another teacher can come to the school catalog, which, every teacher in the school has access to. They can come in and hover over it and clone it and use it in their class. So this is really great. We are also working on creating a yeah, on publishing finished projects, on publishing finished student projects into the school or district catalogs. Those projects are going to be stripped of any identifying information such as analytics or personal or any personal information. So they will be only project, that's it. But that's coming up very soon. So let me just go back again into the project and continue my exploration here. So after publish to catalog, we can go to evaluate. So evaluate, this is the place where you upload the rubrics. So if you have any rubrics, whether they are a G Suite file, an Office 365 file, or a PDF, or any like that, you just click add, and then you can either take it from the hard drive or from the internet if it's there, and just insert it here. It will show up as a link. Students are going to press on the link and it will open in a new tab, and they will be able to see the requirements for the project. Last part is the analytics, but this one I'm going to show you because right now you see nothing, although Darren and Benjamin are part of the project, but they have not contributed anything yet. So once they will start contributing, you will start seeing the analytics, displaying information. So this is the dashboard, as I said before. But before I move on to the workspace, as you see, the workspace has a lot of scaffolding that we created, and I'm going to explain in a minute. But every workspace, by the way, doesn't have to have this scaffolding. You can actually provide an empty workspace to students because you want them to do everything on their own. And the reason you can do that is because for every tab you have instructions. So this is the tab instruction. Every tab has its own instructions. You can include text, you can include videos that explain what to do and so on, links, images, anything and everything that can help them understand what they need to do. So if you decide that you don't want to provide them here anything, that's fine. When we are creating projects in the Project Pals catalog, we are actually providing you both. We are providing you in some, and in 8 or 9 projects, we also have videos for each tab. We keep working on adding more and more, so we'll cover all the projects in the catalog with videos, but right now we only have 8. And as I said before, we provide both information in the instructions box and in the workspace. So as I said before, this is the workspace. And as you see on the top, these are tabs, like tabs in a browser. Projects in Project Pals are broken down into phases, and each of these tabs is a phase in the project. So this project is about design the city of your dreams, and it starts by first understanding what's the difference between city living and rural living, and then moving on to the city history of what your own city's history. And then from here, moving on to actually designing a utopian city using one of these softwares like SimCity or SketchUp or Tinkercad to design your utopian city, and then bringing in the images of that design into Project Pals. And then once you have that utopian city, you want to first understand what is the city charter, and then create a city charter for your utopian city. And moving on from here, you will start focusing on the governance. How is the governance going to look like? And so here, you see the hierarchical structure of the governance. The mayor is on the top, the city council, the city, and so on. And then transportation, moving on from here, you are going to go into transportation plans for your city, and then maps, come up with some maps. And then tourism, what type of tourism you plan for your utopian city. And finally, reflection, where here the team provides feedback and also sends it out to the public for giving their feedback. You can even include here a Google survey that you will put the file icon here, and that will open up in a new tab, and just send it and then import it back to show what the results were. So So now let me start with the tools that we have for adding content into the project. So one of the things that we have, and on the top tool is the content library. Anything and everything you see in this project that already was created in order to create this scaffolding and every, is recorded in the content library. And the reason is that we wanted to allow to repurpose information. So once you gathered in one phase of the project, you gathered some information, and then you want to present it in another tab in a different way, we wanted to allow you to do that. And so it's really easy. Let's say that you need here a feedback tile. You can go in here and click on copy to workspace. And here is the feedback tile just added to this tab. So you can definitely do all kind of repurposing of information, everything that was already done. In addition to that, every object on the workspace can be copied. So you can click on the three dots here and go to create copy. So if you need more than one feedback box here, you can create them. And so anything, every single one of those has the copy, create copy. So, many times when you format something like the size of this text box and you don't want to, do that again, you just need to click here, create copy, and there it is, exactly the same size with the same text, everything in it. And so let's say that you decided, well, okay, I don't need this anymore. You click on the three dots and now you go to the archive object, and that disappeared. Now, why archive? Why not delete? Archive because students many times inadvertently and sometimes in purpose are removing stuff, especially that other students are doing, and then it's gone, and we wanted to make sure that these things can be restored. And so again, going back to the content library, there is an option here that says show archive, and you just shift the button to the other side and click. This was the part that we actually archived just now, and you just open it and go to restore, and here it is. It is restored to the same place, same location, and same everything. So everything you archive can be restored, so things are not disappearing forever. The next tool is the text tool. So this is a text box, and of course, to create a new text box, all you have to do is just click, and then you can start typing. And this is click to edit. You have all the editing tools above here, so there's no problem. It's really easy to do, including you have the option to add formulas here, and so all this is available. Very easy to use. So I'm going to archive this because we don't need it here. But also here, any existing text box, it also tells you what to do. Replace this text. So there's a lot of scaffolding here for the students that they can use. It explains what they need to do. And all they have to do is just highlight and start typing the information, the research that they came up with. The next tool is the media tool. If I click the media tool, then you'll see everything that was used in this project. All the media is going to show up here. And how do you add new media? Well, all you have to do is just click on the, let's say that I'm going in here, I'm going to type in here, rural living. And I want to add an image about rural living, and this sounds very, well, maybe not that, but definitely this looks like rural. So I'm going to right click and copy image address and go back to Project Pals. And now I'm going to click on the plus button on the top and click insert, because this is from the internet, and it's going to paste my URL, and click go. And this will be added to my project on the bottom. Here it is. And if you want to change the name and you want to say here rural living instead of all this information, then you can say living, and then just click on the check mark here to change the name, and then just select it, and then place on workspace, and it places it, but you have to be careful because it many times it's placing it on top of another image because it puts it in the middle of the workspace. So here it is, and now it has handles, and you can make it bigger. You can make all kinds of changes here to include, your images. And then you see here, there's quite a few guiding questions. Yes, we have a questions tool. And the label here that says question tells us that what we should expect here are questions. And just to avoid confusion, this was not meant for your students to click after the question and start typing your answers. That's not the purpose. The purpose, this is a visual platform. Questions are questions. That's all they are. They are nothing more. Don't expect to get your answers. If your students want to answer, they can use the text tool. They just click on the text box and add the text box here and answer your questions. Or they can even, and I'm going to show you in a minute, how they can create an analysis style that will be called answer, and then you can expect to get the answer there. So this is, as I said before, this is the question tool. We are going to skip right now the components and events tool, which are going to be in our advanced training. And we're going to move on to our analysis style project here. Now, but before I really go and continue even more, I wanted to show you, because a project where you are taking the questions, and I explained in my first video that in project-based learning, you start with a driving question, and then students are coming up with some refining questions. And those refining questions are helping them to identify what are those core subject areas that I actually need to master in order to solve the problem at hand. And so to do that, I wanted to show you another project here that shows you how to do that. And let me just get to that project. And here it is. And this is just a questions template. You can find it in the one tab templates. And what you see here, let's say that this is your driving question on the top. You can add more questions and you can connect them with the relationship tool and show exactly, kind of develop a whole mind map of refining questions that are going to take you far in terms of identifying what are those core subjects that are absolutely necessary for you to know in order to solve the problem. So this is another thing that you should definitely consider. And so now I wanted to go to the analysis styles. As I said before, I wanted to show you how but really a very effective project to demonstrate that is going to be this one. And then I'm going to also explain what are analysis styles. So this project is about how can we help protect endangered species. And there is a place here somewhere where it says problems and solutions. And I'm going to go there. And so what you see here, these are the analysis styles. Here are all the analysis styles. And so what is analysis style? So the tool is 1, 2, 3 from the bottom. And when you click on it, then the default are problem, solution, and evidence. But then it shows you that you can create custom ones. You can click inside and give it a name. So I actually created cause, my solution, and feedback. And because I needed them. So once you create it, you will type the text, whatever text is inside these analysis tiles, you're going to type it here, over here, and then you create it. Now, here are, these are the threats. In fact, we could have created a threats analysis style. So, but in order to do that, because this is a project that I don't want to change, let me just clone one of these projects. Go to the catalog and go to the single tab templates. And let's say that I am going to clone the ideate template. And this is going to be my version, so I can change it now. So you see that here, actually, it's showing you the connection between some problems and what the solutions are for them. So this is just, coming up with ideas You identified some problems. You want to identify a few solutions for them. And now let's say that you also want to add the causes to these problems. You will go to the analysis tile and you will now add one that's called cause. And then here you're going to type, replace this with one cause for the problem. And then press create. And here is a cause tile. So now you can connect the causes to the problems if you want. So that's how this works. It's really very powerful. Kids love this because it kind of focuses their attention on what the problems are and what the solutions are for them. So, and of course, it is so visual, it's so clear here, you know, the connection between the two. And then the next tool here is the annotation tool. So the annotation tool, let me show you a project that will kind of bring it to life. And I'm going to go to one of our finished projects in the Project Pulse catalog. And that project is Green Building Basics and Technology. In here, there is a big image of a net zero home and the different technologies that are used here in order to achieve this net zero home that is basically a greenhouse. And so it shows you a lot of things. It shows insulating the roof and all, you know, and what the annotations do is allow you to open it up, add here either an image or a video and an explanation, you know, how do you insulate, you know, what did they do here in order to insulate the roof? And so each of them tells something about, you know, here the Energy Star appliances, that's also contributing to it. And each of them, as you see, has a video explaining everything. So basically you understand that these annotations, I like to use them when there's an image and I want to zoom into some phenomena and I want to know more about it. So this is the way to do it, okay? So this is very powerful, as you see. And again, to create an annotation, you just click on the second tool from the bottom, and then you type a name, a title, which is the name here that you see here. You put either a video or an image here, and here's where you put the explanation. And you can even change the color of the annotation. It doesn't have to be all blue. You can make green or anything. And doesn't need to have this icon. It can only, sometimes it can only have the name. And when you click show label only, it's going to only show the label only. So that's how you create these annotations. And finally, let me take you to a project where I can show you really how the relationship tool works. Although, if I go to one of these projects that we just created, let's go back to the IDA template that we had before. And let's say that I want to connect now the cause into the problem. I'm going to click on the last tool, which is actually two tools. One of them is the drawing tool. So drawing tool is very basic here. All you have is a line and you have some squiggly lines as well that you can create. Because we don't have yet, but it's coming up, tables, I love to use the line tool to kind of delineate between areas of the workspace. So you definitely can do that until we have the table, which is coming up very soon. And then we have the relationship tool. You can click on relationships here. And here you will select the line, the thickness, what type of line, whether it's a solid or a broken, how thick it's going to be, and whether it ends with an arrow, and then a color. And now let's choose a different color. And now I can go in here and I can drag, and when the relationship tool is selected, every object gets these little purple dots that enable you to connect them to another object to their purple dots. So here it is, and leads to And you can say caused by here. You can even describe what is the relationship between them. So here it is, and this is how you connect any object. I mean, everything, every single object has it. You can connect anything to anything. There is no problem. Now, in order for these purple dots not to show up anymore, you need to close the relationship tool, and then it's not there. And to remove, when you go back to the relationship tool to remove something, all you have to do is click, hover over it and click on the X, and that is gone. Now, let me go into a project that's actually a finished project and give you a very brief overview of the analytics and also show you a few more things. And we will conclude by that. Let me go here to my science class. I'm going to go to a project again that was finished by students. And so this is what you see here. The first thing you see in the project dashboard, you see a pie chart that shows the percentage of work that was performed by each student. Once students start working, this pie chart shows up and gives immediately the picture, what was contributed and how much by each student. This is an amazing motivator for students because nobody likes to be the smallest piece of the pie. And as you see in this project, they are almost the same. It's unbelievable. Now, when you click here on analytics, this one cannot be seen by students, but it can be seen by you. So what we have here is how many actions they perform. Each student has their own color here. And then you just hover over it and click, and you see how on each date, how much work by done, how many actions were done by each student. And then how many sessions in and out they did that day, how many collaborations. And by collaboration, we mean that the students worked on the same object together. So that means that they are looking and reading through something that was done by somebody, and then they say, oh, you know what, I think I can add something here. So that would be a collaboration. And also commenting on each other's work. That's also a collaboration. And then here the same information is provided to you in a table format. And that same pie chart that students can see, you can see as well here. And in addition to that, you can see what types of contributions were made. So whether was it just media, was it text, was it relationships or events or analysis? So all these things are going to be here. All this information is going to be here. So that's the analytics. That's just a brief overview because I'm going to give a much more detailed overview about analytics in the advanced course. So on the bottom left, we have a few tools that are important to know. One of them is when you click on the arrow actually allows you to drag over several objects and move them together at the same time. So if you want to move these, that's what you do. You just, click on the arrow and then drag over several objects, and that's how you move them together. So let me just do this again because this wasn't aligned really well. So I'm going to just move it back there. Okay, so that's that tool. Now let's say that the students finished their work. As you see, this is a finished project, and now they want to present it to the class or to other people outside of the school. What they need, the second tool here, it's called presentation mode. I mean, you click presentation mode, then you get this entire page, and you can now go and use the arrows on the top left to move from page to page and show and explain the work and show what you did. So that's how this works. Now you can zoom in, you can click on the zoom button here, you can zoom into some phenomena, and you can then zoom out, and you can also zoom back to normal. And then I mentioned commenting. So every object, when you hover over every object, there's the commenting tool here, and you click and you can type in here something, this was, and maybe for this purpose, I'm going to take you to another project because then you'll be able to actually see me doing the commenting. So let's say I'm going back to my social studies class and going into one of these projects that I just assigned to this class. And now I want to comment on this, and I can go in here and say, This is great. And then I'm just going to do this, and you see that immediately you are getting a number, a red number over it saying, oh, you have one comment here. And if you have more, you'll see the number increase. And then students will come, check it out, click on it. This will open and they can reply. So you understand how this works. So thank you very much. As I said, this was the second in the series of basic trainings of Project Pulse. The first one was, of course, our what is project-based learning. This is the basic training. And the next training that's coming up is the advanced training. And finally, we will also have a last one, is how to design your own project. Thank you very much, and I'm going to see you in the advanced training.